Hello and welcome to Fantasy Premier League 2020-2021. That's a lot of 20s. Tonight, as I'm recording this, it is the eve of a brand new Premier League season. And that for me, as it is for a lot of people, is plenty exciting. And not just for the Premier League itself. Before the fantasy game that runs alongside it, I've been playing fantasy kind of on and off for, I don't know, 9 years maybe. I say on and off. I think I probably created a team and started out every season from that first season I signed up. But as I reckon many of you can identify with, if things aren't going your way in any given season, sometimes it's not long before you start to despair. And eventually, in my case, just give up on the game entirely. So, that's what I'm trying to combat. My plan this year is to record my thinking and my team before each game week, so that I can hold myself accountable throughout the year, so that even if things aren't going my way, which obviously won't happen because I'm going to win, but in this fantasy world where I don't win, it would be nice not to quit 10 weeks into the season. So, I've already done a little bit of jiggling around and kind of piecing together a team for game week 1. But nothing's finalised, and I've probably not thought through my team anywhere near as much as I have done in previous years. So that's what I'm going to be doing now. I'm going to really try and think in some detail about how I want to build my team. After all, I am this year's future champion, so it would be rude of me to not at least spend a little bit of time picking my team. So, this is what we are working with at the moment. In goal, I have gone with McCarthy at Southampton. Southampton are a very solid team. I think they ended last season pretty strongly, and their manager, whose name I forget, was he Ralph Unterhal, something like that. That's very, very quickly. Let's Google him. Ralph Hasenhuttl. Is that it? That doesn't sound right. Maybe it is. Anyway, Big Ralph. I think he's a very, very good manager. And I'd expect to see Southampton do pretty well this season, I think. So, for me, at 4.5, Alex McCarthy is good value. You're getting a mid-table, perhaps even slightly better than mid-table defence for relegation prices. So McCarthy's in there. at the moment, my second goalkeeper is Walton. I don't even know who this guy is in real life. Christian Walton. I've never heard of him. He is one of the few 4.0 goalkeepers, and that is the only reason he's in my team. Normally, I'd want the Southampton backup goalie as my second keeper in case McCarthy ever got injured. But sadly, Angus Gunn this year is also priced at 4.5. I just really don't want to be wasting an extra 0.5 on my second keeper who will probably never play. Right, so those are my goalkeepers. In defence at the moment, and this is very subject to change because I have not given this anywhere near enough thought. I've gone for Reece James from Chelsea. Chelsea obviously are a very, very exciting team this season. Not so much defensively, but going forwards, some of the signings, who I'm sure we'll discuss in a little bit, are really whetting the appetite. I think we can expect to see big things from Chelsea. As for James himself, from what I've seen of him, he's a decent young player. He gets forward a fair bit, and I think he's got quite a decent cross on him. So, at 5 million for a team who are probably gonna get maybe in the top 5, you'd have thought at least for clean sheets, and with a little bit of attacking threat, I think Reece James is a good shout. So that's why he's in there. Now, Douglas. Barry Douglas, I know very little about Leeds, to be honest. I think the only newly promoted side that I really followed with any kind of regularity last season were West Brom. You'll notice I've got no West Brom players because I don't think they're very good at all. There's one West Brom player who maybe I'll consider, but I'll come on to him in a little while. For now, let's stick to Leeds. So, from what I'm hearing, and again I say this as someone who really did not watch Leeds at all last season, I hear and I understand they are very good, and I believe Douglas has some chance of starting. Just off screen here, I'm looking at the expected lineups, and I'm looking through this expected Leeds team, and you can ignore what I just said because Douglas is very much not expected. Very much not expected to start against Liverpool. So, on reflection, maybe the reason I selected Douglas was purely for his 4.0 million price tag. I think it will be one to revisit. We'll have a look at the 4.0 options in a sec and see if there are any better options than Douglas. Right, Justin a 4.5 Leicester City player. Leicester properly fell apart towards the back end of last season. We'll see if that form carries through to this season. But on paper, regardless of that form, they're a very strong side, man for man. James Justin, not so much. But he is very likely to start, at least for the moment. while Ricardo Pereira is out injured. Ricardo Pereira is a very, very good footballer. Possibly in my top 3 right backs in the Premier League. Justin, I can't say I've seen much of. But a 4.5 for a team who should be pushing for Europa League at least. Probably at most, to be fair. But for a team that good, 4.5 to me seems great value. At least while Ricardo Pereira is out injured. Now, the big boys. Andy Robertson and Trent Alexander-Arnold. 7 million and 7.5 million apiece. It's a lot of cash, but I think well worth them. I mean, let's have a look at Alexander-Arnold's stats from last year. It's insane. 4 goals scored, 15 assists, 14 clean sheets. I think he's pretty much an auto pick, and you can see that more than half of teams have selected Trent Alexander-Arnold. I think that's reasonable. Yeah, you can see just how well he scores for creativity, for influence, compared to other defenders, and even for goal-scoring threat. He's a very impressive player and a very, very impressive FPL option. So Trent is in there. I've also gone with Robertson. It's slightly cheaper. His stats for last year, they're not far off, you know. He scored a couple fewer. Probably because he doesn't take free kicks quite as well as Trent does. And just a couple fewer assists as well. And then it looks like he missed out on one of the clean sheets. But I am surprised by how few people are owning him. Only 13%. He's clearly, looking at his influence and creativity ranks and his threat rank, he's clearly one of the most attacking and most effective fullbacks in the league. And that's been the case for a couple of years now. So I'm expecting more of the same from Robertson. I think the only doubt, and this is true of Trent Alexander-Arnold as well, I think the only doubt is how many clean sheets Liverpool can expect to keep this season. Their form slid a little bit towards the end of last season, and their pre-season, from what I've seen, hasn't been too great either. They weren't impressive in the Charity Shield at all. So, perhaps there's a case to be made to say that we can expect fewer clean sheets this season. I mean, I'm just looking at the 2018-2019 stats there. 21 clean sheets. I think I'm right in saying that's the highest of any team in Premier League history. That was a completely broken season defensively for Liverpool. So I imagine they won't be matching that, but at the same time, I think another 13 clean sheets is well within reach. Ultimately, Liverpool are still a brilliant side. Possibly the best in the league. We'll see. I think a lot of people are expecting a very tight race this season between Liverpool, City, and Chelsea. Well, I say Chelsea. Maybe I'm getting a little ahead of myself there. They've made a lot of signings. signings, especially for this kind of money, or even for this kind of money, often flop. So we'll see what happens with Chelsea. They're a bit of a wild card, really. But I think we can expect City and Liverpool to fight out a pretty thrilling and tight contest this season. Right, into the midfield, the big boys. And I have gone reasonably big here. Aubameyang reclassified as a midfielder this season. That is a madness. A madness. I mean, I get it. They're being consistent, and I respect them for doing that, because I imagine there's been some backlash because there are no strikers left. But they are being consistent. Aubameyang played most of last season on the left wing, and as per how they've classified those kinds of players in the past and how they're classifying them this year, you know, players like Salah and Mane, it makes sense to give Aubameyang the same classification. But it does make him a pretty irresistible option, I think. At 12 million, the same price as Salah. Yeah, you can see that 50% or almost 50% of players have selected him. He ranks insanely high for goal scoring threat, for what is influence. Right, now that I've actually read influence, I'm not sure it's that relevant FPL wise. I think now that I actually read what these metrics are saying, I want likelihood of assists and I want likelihood of goals, and that's what these two seem to be covering. In any case, he ranks very highly. He's a very good footballer. Weirdly, when he came to Arsenal, I always had this impression of him, and I think he did have a reputation for being a kind of Salah type figure, where he would generate a lot of chances with good movement off the ball and with his pace, but his actual finishing was not especially clinical. I think last season that was very much not the case. Perhaps we'll see him regress slightly this season. Maybe he can't keep up the finishing that we came to expect last year. We'll just have to wait and see. But I'm pretty happy having him in my starting team. Now, beside him, as the left centre mid in this 15-man starting 11, we have Mohamed Salah, priced down this year from 12.5 to 12 million. Since he came to the Premier League, he has been, I think by quite a way, the top FPL point scorer. I mean, he scored over 300 points in his first season. That is ridiculous. I assume, I may be wrong, in fact I probably am wrong, but I'm going to just throw out a claim here. I don't think anyone in the history of FPL has ever scored 300 points in a season. To me, that seems ridiculous. 32 goals, 12 assists, wow. And then all those bonus clean sheet points. I doubt even peak Cristiano Ronaldo got those kinds of FPL points. And then he's followed that up with two very, very good seasons, if not quite record breaking. He's a very good FPL option, and I'm very comfortable having him in my team. It was a straight pick really between him and Mane. They're at the same price point, and I think Salah just edges it for me. I love Mane as a player. I love them both as players, but I think Salah is as he has been in previous seasons, probably going to be more of the focal point in attack. Plus, he is on penalties, at least as far as we know. Alright, in centre midfield, dictating the play, we have our old friend Alain Saint-Maximin. He is a very fun player to watch. He's capable of genuine magic on a football pitch and a lot of draws. I mean, he has produced a lot of garbage in his time, so I enjoy watching him, and it's kind of fun to have him in the team, even though I expect it's going to be quite frustrating at times. But ultimately, at 5.5, I think he's very good value. Very, very good value. Newcastle look like a team who should kick on this season. They were very solid, surprisingly solid last year. I think everyone going into last year predicted them to be in and around the relegation battle. But they exceeded those expectations, and I think they've strengthened this year. Callum Wilson, I think, is a good signing. I think that's his kind of level. I don't think he was ever. I mean, there was a time when he was rumoured to be going to Chelsea. Possibly, maybe at one point Arsenal were in for him. But I think this is more his level. I think he'll do very well for Newcastle. I think he also makes Alain Saint-Maximin a more appealing prospect. So I'm quite looking forward to seeing what he can achieve this season. Alright, here we go. So I am a Spurs fan. Let me get that out of the way. And let me be upfront and say that I pick this man not unbiasedly. I love Son. I really, really love him. And I think even being unbiased, I think he's a good pick at 9 million. Kane is, I mean, I love Harry Kane as well, but he's sort of transitioning into this more of a creative player. I still think he'll score plenty of goals this season, but I think we've seen in the last couple of years that Kane he's way better at passing than anyone ever gave him credit for, and he's been using that, and I think also with injuries maybe hurting his mobility, he's taken this role of creating chances for other players in the team. And I think Son is, as he takes a more focal point in the attack, a more focal role, I think he's really going to benefit from that. And I hope he does well this season. His score from last season, 169, it's very good, but I don't think it's really representative of how good he was last season. He got a couple of red cards, and those massively hurt his points total. So he's a very good player. I'm just looking at his creativity and threat there. I mean, 24th most creative player in the league, 6th most threatening player in the league. Sorry, of midfielders, I should say. Those are very promising as well. And Spurs' fixtures look really, really appetising. There's no one, I don't think there are no teams with 5 straight good fixtures. So I think Spurs are about as good as it gets. Everton at home, interesting game. Everton are a team to watch perhaps, but we'll see. Southampton away. it's again not not a gimme of a game. Southampton are a solid side, and as I said earlier, I like a bit of Big Ralph. But again, it's a game you'd expect Spurs to come out on top from. Newcastle at home. I mean, another team that I was just picking up. But I think a fixture you have to say that you'd expect Spurs to win. Game week number 4, Man U away might be a little bit more of a challenge. We'll see what kind of form Man U bring into this season. I feel like they were going very, very well last year, and then maybe lost a little bit of steam right at the end. Just right at the very end, they stopped creating quite as well as they had been doing. Man U, by the way, don't play in game week 1, and neither do Man City. So I haven't got any Man U or Man City players in. I'm sure there can be a case made to having, one or two who can sit on the bench for game week 1 before coming in game week 2, but I've decided to go without. And then after that Man U game home to West Ham, I think that's a very good fixture. And London derbies are always fun. Right, Souček. I have heard rumours, malicious rumours, that Souček might be quarantining at the moment as a result of being in contact with someone who tested positive. So I might have to give that a quick Google now, because if he's not expected to play, then that is a problem. So just off screen here, let's find out what the latest news is on Thomas Souček. Where are we lacking? Oh, okay, I mean, there's really not much here. There's really not much. I think I'm just gonna have to hope for the best here and assume that Thomas Souček is gonna be fit and allowed to play come game week 1 tomorrow. To West Ham play tomorrow. Shambolic. They do play tomorrow home to Newcastle. It's a good fixture. Right. So that is my midfield. Souček, by the way, I've heard very promising things about him. It sounds like he's been undervalued here, underpriced. So it'd be exciting to see what he does. Although I remember saying the same thing about another West Ham signing last year. Haller. Put him straight into my team at the start of the season. I thought he was going to do wonders. That didn't work out quite as I'd anticipated. Right, the front 3 then. Vasilev, Werner and Mitrovic. Vasilev in my team purely because there are no other good 4.5 options. I decided to pick one of the 4.5s who is not massively owned, because what tends to happen, I find, is people all jump on one 4.5 player. They inevitably start on the bench on game week 1, and then everyone jumps ship, and their price inevitably drops. So I'm trying to avoid that with Vasilev. can't say I'm expecting him to get me many points, but hopefully he'll be on the bench most weeks, as in my bench. Right, Timo Werner, this is an interesting one. He's owned by almost half of players, which I think is ridiculous. I don't know if I don't know what to expect, that's the thing. Just like with any new signing, there's a huge risk and a huge volatility, huge level of volatility associated with him. But I'm kind of scared of not owning him, given that everyone else seems to have him. And to be fair, 9.5 seems a good price point. I think we can, as I say, there's a lot of volatility that you can attach to someone like a Timo Werner who's coming to the league for the first time. But I think in terms of what we can expect him to achieve, 9.5 might be a generous price, and I guess that's why so many people own him. So he's in my team. I am really excited to see what kind of football Chelsea play this year. They've got some real talent in there now. Werner, Havertz, Ziyech. Hakim Ziyech is a player I've really enjoyed watching for a few years now, and it's about time. It's about time a Premier League club went in for him. Christian Pulisic will hopefully as well kick on. He's been threatening to become very, very good, and it'll be nice if we can really see him perform at a high level this season. He may be a very good FPL option, but for now, I kind of want to watch Chelsea and just see what they're all about, see which players are most threatening and most appealing FPL-wise ultimately, which is why I've not gone for anyone other than Timo Werner for now. But I do like Timo Werner as a pick. Having already said that I doubt his quality is a pick. As you can see, I'm all over the shop here, making it up as I go along. Right, and that brings us to our final player, Alexander Mitrovic of Fulham. I think he scored a lot of goals in the Championship last season, and he's a proven Premier League goal scorer. He scored 11 goals in 2018-19. He's a very respectable goal scorer, and I guess that's why he's so widely owned, 25%. Having said all that, I don't expect Fulham to do especially well this season based on what little I know of them. I saw them in the playoff final. Was it against Brentford? I feel like it was against Brentford. Whoever it was against, I think it was Brentford. Fulham weren't that impressive. So purely on the basis of that one game, and also on the basis that they finished below West Brom, who I know were not that good last year, I'm not expecting that much from Fulham. So Mitrovic, he's in there for now, but I'm not 100% convinced. Alright, so I've just spent a long time, about half an hour, going through the team. Let's see if there are any changes we can make to improve what we've got going on here. So, who have we got as goalkeeper option? Yeah, so Pope. I think he was the top scorer last season. Are these ranked by points? Yeah, they're ranked by points. So Pope was the highest scoring goalkeeper of anyone last year. And he's a very good goalkeeper, is Nick Pope. And Burnley are a very solid side, or at least have been for a few years now, under Sean Dyche. I don't know if he's worth $5.5 million though. I think when it comes to goalkeepers, I mean, if we look through here, compare Pope 5.5 to Ryan. I had Ryan for a lot of last season. In fact, maybe for the whole of last season, I had Matthew Ryan. He's a fun goalkeeper to watch, by the way. Bit of a wild card. 35 points in it across the season. Do I want to pay $1 million for 35 points across the season? I gotta think about that. Possibly, actually. I think, how many points did I get across all of last season? 2,500, maybe 2,000. I think normally I end most seasons only around 2,000 points or something. So per million, we're talking 20 points per million. So this 35-point gap maybe is worth it. Maybe I need to rethink my strategy here. I mean, I guess the question is, will Pope score as many points? Will Pope score as many points as he did last season? I don't know. I really don't know. Excuse me. I'm about to have a coughing fit. So give me a second to cough off mic. We're back. That's a very brief coughing fit. I'm hoping I muted my mic. So this goalkeeper thing is tough. It really is tough. Schmeichel, well, I don't trust Leicester yet. I like Justin at his price point, but Leicester will have to wait and see. I think Henderson won't be starting, at least not from the outset. Very good goalkeeper, but I think Solskjaer wants to back De Gea as far as he's able to. Let's see who other people have gone for. Well, McCarthy's the top pick, then Ryan, then Pope. Yeah, I mean for me those are the three obvious picks. And it seems everyone agrees. In previous seasons I have considered going for an Alisson or an Edison, but I don't think Liverpool and City keep enough clean sheets to justify it. Not to mention that ultimately you only have 3 Liverpool slots and only 3 Man City slots. And I'm guessing at various points in the season I'm going to be wanting to use those slots, and preferably not on goalkeepers. I mean, even right now I'm using all 3 Liverpool slots. I think I'm happy with McCarthy. I think I'm happy. Let's just see who the best 4 million options are. Nyland's good if he's expected to start. Let me have a quick look at these lineups, these expected lineups. Again, off screen. Deal with it. Okay, from what I'm seeing, he's not expected to start. Steer is expected, so screw Nyland. I'm sticking to Walton. Right. Defensive options. Yep, Trent with an insane number of points last year and insane popularity this year and an insane price tag. Well, I say that his price tag relative to his points last year is probably still a bargain, a complete bargain. So I think Trent has to go in. I don't think there's any defender who gets close to his expected points return. Perhaps Robertson, hence why he's in here as well. So, I see Douglas, my 4 million Leeds defender. Is he a centre back? I really don't know. I don't know who Douglas is, to be honest. I know very little about Leeds. But I think clearly a lot of people have gone for him, and that seems to have influenced my decision. That might not be sensible because if he doesn't start, his price might drop, and that would be quite scary. So let's pick another 4 million defender, given that Douglas probably isn't going to start. Marty's a defender. Is that right? I always thought he was midfielder. Carter Vickers is back at Spurs. Oh, I didn't realise. I mean, he's a garbage footballer. Let me see if this Mitchell at Palace is expected to start. I don't really know who he is. He is as well. He is as well. I mean, Palace have a lot of injuries. No Cahill, no Sacco, no Tompkins, no Van Arnholt, and that explains why this Mitchell guy will be in. Let's run with him for now. I assume he'll be losing his place whenever Van Arnholt's back. But anyway, for 4 million and someone's going to be starting a few games, let's quickly check when Van Arnholt's expected back. Not for a while, clearly. I think Mitchell could be a nice pick. Having said that, I wish Patrick Van Arnholt a speedy recovery. Okay. Is there anyone else we might be missing a trick on? I've not got any Wolves players. And I know Vinag is quite widely owned, 12%. Connor Cody, Roman Saiz, Bully, he's fit. Willie Bully, I enjoy watching him play. But 5.5 seems pricey relative to the other Wolves centre backs. The other Wolves defenders. If Vinagre is likely to start, 4.5 seems cheap. Should we have a look? The question is he better than a Justin? I don't know. It's pretty tough. So, it looks like he is being backed to start. Let me just confirm that Justin is as well. And so is Justin. Yeah, no, it's... Who's got the better fixtures? Leicester away to West Brom, that's a good fixture. Wolves away to Sheffield United is a decent fixture as well. Well, I don't know what to expect from Sheffield United this season. I really haven't got a clue. I suspect they might struggle. I think they might do an Ipswich Town. Ipswich Town, when they came to the Premier League about 20 years ago, finished 5th in their first season. I think, in fact, they were 4th. They were on course for Champions League until the final day of the season. Anyway, they finished 5th. Had a UEFA Cup run the next season. Also got relegated. So I wonder if Sheffield United can do something similar. So who did Leicester play? Leicester seem to have some good fixtures. Burnley at home. Wolves home to Man City, not as good. Then Leicester away to Man City, not great. Wolves away to West Ham is much better. Leicester home to West Ham and Wolves home to Fulham. And Leicester are home to Aston Villa and Wolves away to Leeds. I mean, they've both got largely solid fixtures. I think I'm going to stick with Justin for now. So no changes in defence except for Douglas out, Mitchell in. Now in midfield. I mentioned right at the start of this video that there is one West Brom player who I want to keep an eye out on. And he is a midfielder. It's not Agazi. Pereira at 6, is he the most expensive? He is the most expensive West Brom player. And he is by all accounts, and from what I saw of West Brom last season, he is a very talented, very able footballer. But it remains to be seen whether he's an FPL option this season. At 6 million, he's a million more than Suchek. He's 0.5 more than San Maximin. I don't think I can bring myself to take a punt on him at this stage. I want to see him maybe for a couple of games in the Premier League, see how he adapts to the league. And if things are looking good, I'm more than ready to pull the trigger on him. I'm excited to see what he does, both FPL wise and in purely footballing terms. Right, who else have we got in midfield? Clearly I've just gone with the crowd here. I've picked the 3 most popular midfielders. In fact, I picked 4 of the top 5. I am amazed so many people have De Bruyne though, given that he's not playing in week 1. I think I'm happy to leave him out and bring him in if I really want to next week. So I don't think I'm going to be touching Aubameyang or Mohamed Salah. I think they're pretty locked in. I like them both as picks. What else have we got? Jack Grealish. Absolute talisman for his club, and honestly, those are insane. Third most creative player last season of the midfielders, and 16th for goal threat. He's a very good player after all. I think I probably expect him to match these kinds of numbers from last year, and that would make him decent value at 7 million. It really would. He's not a bad pick, he really isn't. I mean, I could bring him in for Son, and then I'd have another 2 million to upgrade a Saint Maximin or a Zuzek, or perhaps a Werner, or better still a Mitrovic. Let's have a think about that. If we go Grealish in for Son, what 8 million forwards can we get? Because I think Mitrovic, of everyone on this team, I think Mitrovic is the one I'm least comfortable with right now. Jimenez 8.5 is slightly awkward. Richarlison, Calvert-Lewin I do like, not because I think he's a good footballer. I think he's a pretty bang average footballer. But Everton are exciting. James Rodriguez is exciting. And maybe that's just me getting caught up in the hype of a big name. But I have my suspicion that James Rodriguez is quite severely underrated these days. I think there's this perception that James peaked at the 2014 World Cup and maybe in his first season at Real Madrid, but I think the reality is that he's been unlucky with injuries. When he's played, and wherever he's played, he's been consistently very, very good, and I think I would expect him to do very well at Everton. And I think he's got a strong relationship with Ancelotti, so that's only going to help. So let's actually see how much Hammers costs. Maybe we go very, very rogue and get Hammers involved. 7.5. Oh, I don't think that's bad. I really don't think that's bad. I don't know if he'll play. When do they play? They play away to Spurs on Sunday. Home to West Brom. Away to Palace. Home to Brighton. Home to Liverpool. Away to Southampton. Kind of mixed to slightly above average fixtures, I think I'd say. Oh, I like Hammers. It's a real punt. It really is. But I might be willing to take that punt. I mean, what I'm saying is, I think Hammers. So if he takes a Maxim, even though I like him, he's a fun player. I really do like him. And do I really want to take Son out? Do I really? It doesn't feel great, I'll be honest. Because I like Son a lot. I really like Son a lot. And to go into the season without a Spurs player feels almost like a betrayal of their trust, What are Villa's fixtures like? Villa, they don't play Gameweek 1. I see. That'd explain why Grealish isn't especially owned. I think maybe we're going back. I got pretty excited for Hammers briefly there, but maybe it's not gonna work out. Zaha, 7 million. I don't know about Zaha. I really don't know what to expect from him this year. He seemed to stall a little bit last year. And he's not, how old is he now? 28 or something? He's coming right into his prime. So he should be doing well, but I don't know. There's no one here who excites me. Trezeguet, love that boy. I don't know how many minutes Torres can expect to see. And Sigurdsson. Do you double up on the Everton? Let's actually have a quick look at the Everton predicted starting lineup. What are we saying? Oh, no mention of my boy James Rodriguez. That's sad. That is sad. Right. I think it's got to be Hammers out. Maybe we bring him in after a week or two. Okay. I think let's leave the midfield like this for now and have a look at our forwards. In particular, I'm not going to touch Vasilev. I'm not going to touch Werner. Mitrovic. Is he the best option at 6.0 million? I don't know. We're about to find out. Rodrigo at Leeds. Is he good? I don't know. Is he? Oh, Rodrigo. I think he's pretty rapid on FIFA, isn't he? Is he? I feel like he might be. But with like 3-star week foot or 2-star week foot or something. I don't know if I might be making that up. Yes, I think Rodrigo's a new signing. But I just don't know enough about Leeds. At least Mitrovic is a kind of tried and tested Premier League forward. That's his appeal, I think. So, I would say for me, just having a look through these, what it's boiling down to is Mitrovic versus, and I don't know if this might shock some of you, Jay Adams. I had him in my team last season. He was one of the reasons I quit so early. Because I just don't understand how he wasn't scoring more than he was. The man missed so many goal touch chances. He hit the crossbar and he hit the post. Shay Adams, he was so frustrating. Do I risk it all again? As I've said, I think Southampton are a good side, and they do tend to like to start with Adams and Ings up top. Ings feels overpriced, possibly at 8.5. I'm not expecting him to reproduce what he did last season. Jay Adams should outperform last season, I would have thought. Oh, it's tough. But you know what, I'm making a call and I'm saying I got it right first time round. This is my team. So after all of that, I've made one change. And that is my 4 million Douglas to be replaced by the equally 4 million Mitchell. And this is the team I'll be going in with. Oh, captain. Oh, who will I captain? I mean, the choice really has to be Aubameyang away to Fulham or Salah at home to Leeds. I think purely on the basis that Salah plays second, I'm taking Salah. I always hate having a captain first up in a game week because if they flop, it ruins the rest of your weekend. So that's my watertight logic and reasoning. Salah captain. I think we'll start Salah, Aubameyang, Son, Saint-Maximin, Mitrovic, Werner, Trent, Robbo, James, Justin, and 4-4-2, and McCarthy, obviously. So let's confirm these transfers. Right, we've already got Salah captain. Oh, is the team already set up? It looks like it is. Yeah, okay, we'll save that. Right, looking good. There are 5 million players this year. 5 million already. This game just gets larger and larger every year. And I can see why it's so addictive and so much fun. It has the power to make or break your weekend, and that's quite a depressing fact. And on that note, I am gonna say thank you for joining me. I've had a whale of a time showing you through my Game Week 1 FPL team for the 2021 season. I am super excited for what's to come this year. And as I said at the very beginning, I am, without a shadow of a doubt, gonna be this year's winner.